Start the puzzle. After some time, I start to wonder about the functions that govern this program that I use to play Sudoku. You might be wondering, well, you have other programs. Why don't you play them? I don't know. Damn it. Um, recently heard about the fall of BlackBerry, how it came about, and it seems inevitable. Anyone focusing just on buttons and then doesn't focus on the right technology is going to get lost in the crowd of other people who are making technology that actually works. Which is a shame because it was a good name for a company. Mm. Anyway, it's like you think about those phones that are made to last, and then they're gone. You end up wondering, well, what stopped them from existing anymore? Makes sense, but it's still like you wish that it worked out better for them or something. That was a faster easy than usual. Cool. I have been awake for a certain amount of time, so not too hard to do stuff like that, I guess. Mhm. Mhm, mm. Okay. Recently, with the watching of Star Trek and all of that, I've been in Deep Space Nine, and it's been really cool getting back into all those memories and ideas, ways of seeing the world, progress. But I don't know, something about the way that some of the like, obviously, it was all just make believe and thought of to be like the best approximation for what you'd expect to happen in that universe or in the future. And of course, there is um there's a limit to how much a person with all their creativity can really think about how things will progress. If you're wondering, I saw that there was gonna be no other place for 1 and 6, so that's why these are not, and that's why this is not a 6. They have to be here because there was nowhere else it could go in the block. Here's a 6. Mhm, 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 mhm. I didn't even hear that song, and it's stuck in my head. Oh god, where is the next number, please? Oh, that is a 7-8 pair, isn't it? Meaning not 9-1. Interesting. 2 free, 9's over there. So if 9's over there, it can't be here, for example. And then we have 2, 5, 3, 5, 2, 3, 5, 9. That's enough to tile that. Um 589, 589, 2 and 2 and 5. All of these seem to be possible. 9393, that's fine. Eight is definitely here. That's obvious. Six. Four alternate. So when I see, obviously, when you think of Star Trek and a lot of the jargon, and if you take it out, it's meant to be Bible or whatever, then it's like you're gonna get stuck because it doesn't matter. A lot of the stuff that's like, okay, it was this, it was that. No, it was whatever it was, and there's a 5 here just standing right, waiting for me to tap it. There's another 5. 2, which makes the 8, 7, 8. Um, and then that's an 8. And then this can't be 3, 9, so it's an 8. That's a 4. 6, 8. And then 8's done. 5, 9. Notice these structures are the same structures almost, where you have the 2 base numbers flowing into the second one, and then the alternative number is 4, and then that flows into the second one, and that flows back. Cyclical systems. Too many 5s, only so many 9s and 1s. Why can't I find it? Let's see. Well, if 5 must be here in this row, well, that's obvious. And then so many 1s and 2s. If the 6 was found or the 5 was found, then the 1, 2 is still valid, and the 3 something, something. But then there's 2, 3 up there. 2, 3, 2, 3. Whatever, there's a 4 here. We can push that in. Simple. What about other 4s? Well, they're alternate. It doesn't give us anything. And then there's 9393. So 921. There's that 6, but 7 alternate. God, why am I stuck? Um, Something about 3 in all these spaces, and it corresponds with this 3 and this 3 alternate. It's like you think of the pathway that it has to go, and then it stops here because there's no more vertical 3. And then you also think about the 9. 9 alternates, 9 alternates. Everything perfect except for this one, which is a separate box. And it's like, it's all stuck. Everything is just stuck. Everything seems to make some sense or another. 2 must be in this horizontal as much as this 3 has, and 9 had to be in these boxes. 2, wait a second, it's 2 and 7. So it's not 3, for example. Ah, 2 and 7 is also not 9. Interesting, also because of 9, 3 could have had the same answer. And then the 9, 3 is in an alternate, so that's more noise reduction. I like that. And you got these, and the 2, and the 7. If 2, 7 is the pair, but 1, 9, 1, 9, then what's this? It has to be a mixture like these are. And try to think of 2, 3, and 7 is all alternate, except for 7 must be one of these, and 5, 5 alternate, meaning the last one must be here, so these ones must be false also anyway, so those are not 5s. Ah, very good. Mostly because the 5 in this box has to be in this column, so that's good. Um, what else do we have? The 2s have to be here and 3 have to be there, but that could be either one of them. Hmm. But 2's definitely in this column or row. Row. I don't know which row. Scooby. It's like all these patterns show up and then I'm still lost. And I do noise reduction and I'm still lost. And I think of all the 2, 3 pair, then the 9 column, and the 1 has to be somewhere, and that doesn't. Well, there's a 1 here. Oh, for frick's sakes, that's a 1. There you go. And then if I think of the rest, that makes this a 3. That 9, 3. So the pin's loose, and the cascade begins where nothing else can remain. It's just all too interlinked to not affect each other. Makes it too easy. Just had to find the pin. There you go. No binary. Found the pin. Obvious 6, 7. Sorry, 5, 7, 9. An instant block is just crazy. Also, this column must have 1, 3, 4. The rest of the block doesn't have 1, 3, 4. That's alone too. Or as some would say 2 by Sudoku. Um, 3 in the column, obviously. 8 or 6. Lone 1. Hmm. All of these you almost think of 1, but then 1 also, and 3 and such. 7. 713 equals not 713. Also not 7. Interesting, so 7 is forced to remain there. Nice. Lone 9 at the bottom, but that doesn't mean anything. 8, 5, 6, 5 alternate all. 5, 6 alternate, and 5, 6, 7, 3, 3. Moving on. Let's look at here. See 3, 2, 3, 6, 7, 7 column. Well, okay, if this 7 has to be here, this is not a 7. And what else can be said? Everything could be anywhere except for 6, obviously. 2s only here, corresponding with these 2s, those 2s. 2 here. Mhm. Fate must, 4 can, and these are interesting. 8, 9, 8, 9, 1, 8, 9, 2, 8, 1, 2. 7 and 9, 5, 3, 8, 7. Oh. The vertical of 7, 4, 3 precludes other 7. Like the 7, 3, there's 4, 3, and then there's 4, 3. 7. So therefore not 4, 3. Not 3. Yeah. Like, sometimes you get those where it's like, they seem to be disjointed and there's the one more piece. This is the one piece that connects both of these. So you have that as the rule. Similar to this sequence where it's 1, 3, 1, 7, 3, Obviously, this is connecting those 3, that's why they are the only places those can be. And if 5, but also could these must. We already said that. But it then determines other things about that are true. How I wish to find another number. Here's a 5 that is alternate and corresponding with all this other mess. Nine in box, alternate. If 9 must be top, 9 is not. That's more noise reduction. Or similarly, if 9 can only be, then 9 cannot. Same rule. Or different rules, same result. Noise reduction. Then that leaves us with lone 9. So that's a lot of noise reduction right there. Then we have the 8. Just pop out of nowhere. 1, 2, 9, 8, 2. Nice. Scanning. 5353 equals not 53. Not 53. Not 3. Equals 6. 3. 4. 1. 4. 6. 9. 5. 6. 2. 3. 5. 8. 4. 6. 6. 5. 5. 3. 8. 1. 7. 3. 1. 4. 3. 9. 6. 7. 4. 5. I have a hard time believing that it won't just collapse entirely. Everything is just too interconnected, and it's impossible to not just find a number that's empty and then fill that in. Their system's lazy. It's too easy to do this hard, as you can tell from the absolute way I dominated that hard. But then again, this is the pattern with this game. It has the belief that the normal is gonna be hard for some reason, because it doesn't know how to do normal, and it doesn't know how to do hard. It thinks in these ways, but if you were to look at the way that I, procedurally go through noise, cancellation by simply be like, well, if the 9 is here, it can't be in these blocks, and so on, forces this 9, the rest collapsed. The entire thing just was gone. And, like, if you can do something like that, then your puzzle is too simple and you just don't know how to make puzzles. Like, it's hard to solve for a puzzle that you must have. So I'm not complaining about the fact that I have at least the easy puzzle, and the medium and hard are usually reversed, where they think it's medium, but it's actually hard, and they think it's hard, it's actually medium. And it has to do with the way that they like you saw, there was nothing like but a bunch of numbers that um simply could only work in one way or another way, what I call binary. one of two states. So as soon as you find that thing that's holding it together, the entire thing just collapses. And personally, I find that insulting. I would like it, perhaps. Sometimes they have done it where the puzzle, um, now you would think, okay, no, this is just a certain amount of numbers that are visually known. But look at this. Look at how they think this is hard. And you have the number 2 and the number 2. Obviously, it's in this column. That's really simple, as well as other 2s. That means it must be in this column, but that means this must be 2 because there's no other place for it to go if you auto-candidate. And you must assume that they will either auto-candidate or think of these things. So, for example, this 2 must be here because this 2 only has this space for it to go. So, how can you even fail this puzzle? That's It's like too spelled out for you, if it makes any sense. For the people who know, you know. And like this, it's an entirely filled in block, similar as the other one is almost entirely filled in. That's 5 out of 9. This is a 4 out of 9. So if you're thinking that's the definition of hard, look at whatever the hell you just did in here. And you think, well, this one has only 2 numbers. This only has 2 numbers. This one has 5, but again, you only get the column, you only get the 1 because it has to be that 1. It's literally forcing you to place that 1. There's no other place the 1 could have ended up. There's no guesswork there. There's no using your brain, you know? If you're going to indicate anything, it shouldn't have been that 1. It should have been a 3, for example, because that isn't in this set, right? It could have been the 3, but instead you deliberately marked where that is gonna be, and you think that's medium. But it's the rest of how I solved this puzzle that made it into a medium that I don't actually remember any of that, but, like, this was simple. This was, like, grade school simple to solve. I did not use any binary in either of these puzzles, and I'm like, "Can you?" I like the fact that every time I go through all these puzzles and you think it's gonna be the same or whatever else, sometimes I go for binary because I can't find the pin that I have to pull out, which is a 1 in 9 times 9, 81 out of 81 of the blocks is a pin that I have to just find it and then press that, and it's done. The rest of the thing just collapses. And, like, that's not fair. It should be that I need to it could maybe try to make it so that if that type of situation happens, and I imagine it would be impossible to figure out a solve mechanism that works efficiently and correctly and whatever else that makes it less hard or less easy to solve something that is supposed to be hard. But if, for example, pulling this pin only unlocks like some of the numbers somehow. And you got to think of like the structure and how those things can work and whatever else. And maybe we already did a puzzle exactly like that where all the like there's only so many although there are so many ways that you can arrange these numbers, there's only so many real puzzles that you can do. Eventually you'll end up with puzzles, but then it has to do with how many of these numbers do you show immediately? And it's just so many for hard to seem hard. Does anyone else doing today's puzzle feel like this was just too easy? Like this was clearly, you could have maybe removed some of the double like, there's a double 2, there's a double 2 there, like, you could remove some of those from the columns to make it harder. You could say the double 8, could have been removed. The other double 8 could have been removed. Um, and such. I think hard shouldn't include many doubles, and then you actually get a hard puzzle. Perhaps it can be a little bit more ambiguous or whatever, instead of like obvious, you know? And really, that only gives you like a certain amount of time to solve or whatever else, blah, blah, blah. I just feel like it could be better. So there's a thing about error counter. I never liked that. Start auto candidate mode. I don't do that because whatever else. Check when guesses are entered. What does that even mean? I don't know what that means. There's a new thing, highlight box. That's normal. Highlight row and column, that's normal. Highlight identical numbers, that's normal. So for example, if I were to highlight this number, all of the ones will show up, which is fun. You can't do that from like the panel, but there is a way to do that where you just press an existing number. So as long as you have the numbers 1 through 8 already visible, all of the other 1 through 8, like I can do it in this puzzle where I reset, and then if I do this, it shows all of that. That's great. That's a really easy way to visualize all of the stuff. And then you can automatically see this must be a 2 and so on. But irrelevant. Um, like for easy there's so however long that took and whatever else, we're going to now refresh this and we're not going to do candidate and we're going to see if we can solve it because that if it's so obvious. Well, I mean, this is a 1. This has to be a 1. We already said that. And other such things like the 2 along with another 2. Wait, what happened? Oh, this is the medium. This is the wrong puzzle to think of those things. But okay, what else can I get? Right? Without candidate, I don't have as many things. But if we think of, okay, well, 7 must be here and there. That doesn't help me find the full answer, but all of this is covered, all of that is covered, and then the remaining numbers are here, so that's a 7. And then that other 7 is somewhere in this middle. There's a 5 somewhere in this column in that box specifically. The 6 and the other 6 blocks a lot of things except for these. And then I don't know. 8 here and there, basically. If I think of where the other 8 could be in this box, then I think of where it remains, and it's more likely that it's here, which would make it here. And I forget what that answer actually is. Um, this is gonna take a little bit longer than my usual solves because it's like in easy, I can just do it. But in this, it's a little bit more. And I'm not actually used to it. So 4, 4, 4, we have the 4s up here, and then we have the 4s here. Could be down there. Um, and then if it's down there, it blocks a lot. So it's just these 2 and these ones, or that one, because this is blocked. So if you think of that being blocked, and this being blocked, and this being blocked, then there's only this left. So that's where the 4 goes. And if that's blocking that, and this is blocking this, then we have these 2 blocks here where a 4 could go. Um, hmm, more nasal. And what feels like a hair in the back of my throat or something. It's like this weird little tiny tickle. Really annoying, genuinely. Um, wait, did I say something? There was something about 8, 8 block. Oh yeah, 8, 7. Undo. I'm just gonna say the 8, 7s go there. That's helpful, but slightly. Because I do remember that, but like whatever. I could candidate, or I could. Once I start using candidate, it becomes easier, I guess. It's not fully empty, but like I do know where those are gonna be approximately. I don't know which one they are, but that doesn't matter. When I think of 6, I think it goes here or there. So there's that. Then when I think of, well, 7 has to be down here. 7 has to be in this set and stuff, and I could fill out the whole damn puzzle of all the different positions. Like everywhere 1 can go, and so on. And then I'm just basically playing candidate without it being auto, and I actually hate that because it doesn't erase automatically. This is a 2. That was easy. I like how the buttons become smaller, so you have an extra indicator that you're in candidate mode in the small mode. That is very interesting. Remember, 3s also be indicated there. That's 4s. Whoops. 3s. And a bit. 3. And then 4 is here. So it seems, except for there can't be a 4 here, so this is 4. So I have to remove all these other 4s. Well, there could have been a 4 here, so that doesn't preclude. Oh, frick. So it could be here. And here. Other things like what numbers go in this box? Well, it has to be 6 somewhere. 4 elsewhere. And 5 throughout. 5 can go here and all throughout. And there. Five could also go here. And since there must be a 5 in the vertical, 5 must go in that box, so therefore it wouldn't go here, for example. That tracks, and since there must be a 5 in this box, there can't be a 5 there, so that leaves the remainder the 5 is here. And then other 5s could go here and there, and because of for the same reason, this is a 5. Obviously, because I put candidate into this, it makes it obvious. Choice of things. 3. It's like, why not do all the numbers? For example, 6 must be somewhere. And if 6 must be somewhere and nothing there it can't go anywhere else in that row, that's a 6. Other numbers remaining are 1, which is blocked, 3, which is not blocked, and 4, which is blocked. So therefore, it must be a 3. These 3s have to be manually removed. Son of a bitch. And then we have the 1. And then 1, 4. And then the remaining numbers after 1, 4 are 8. We need a 9 in here somewhere. And 1 can't be here anymore. 9 could be here, here, and here. 8 could also be there, there, and there, and that doesn't work. This is 4. This is not 4, clearly. This is already 4. Here's a 4. Here's a 4. Okay. God, this looks messy. Row numbers considering 2. 2 is log. Just consider all positions of 2. Oh, we can't put it there. Can we? Well, we can't. We have to put it here because it can't be lower and it can't be higher. So this is not a 2. That's not a 2. That is a 2. So this can't be a 2. For example, all the 2's in that box is considered, and then the 2's in this box need to be considered. That seems right. The remaining number, well, could be 8. Um, we need a 3 somewhere in the box. So let's put the possible 3's. And then if that's a 3-6 pair, which we don't know, because I haven't filled in all the numbers. For example, where can 8 go? 8 could also be here. And here and there, and here and here, and we don't know. And it won't go. Other numbers that could go in here are 3. Whoa. 6. 6 can't can? No, 6 can't go up, so this is a 6. Okay. 'Cause this 6 was blocking here, so this 6 was blocking the rest of the pieces. That's a 6. Um, not 9. Um, 999. What is this number? It must be obvious. I mean, duh, everything else is filled in. So what is it? It's a 6. There you go. No 6. Mm. That's all that, and then we think of things like, have I done all the 4s? I guess. 5s? It would seem so. 7s? This can't be the finished sequence, because that would just mean this is a 5. And why can't I reconcile that in my brain? Um, it's like, it's not, it could be a 1. Oh, that's the thing, I'm missing 1s everywhere, because they're literally everywhere. Those have to be 1s and and 6s, not 3, 8, not 3. Interesting. Remaining numbers of positions of 1, please. Huh? Oh. Why does it look like it's all filled in now? But it doesn't feel right. Like, is that definitely only a 1? What? Can't be 2, can't be 5, 9 something, 4? No. 7? No. 6. Is this just a 1? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's a 1. Okay. So these are not 1s. The 7 must be something other than. Now, I knew there was. It's obviously not all labeled, because then it would be obvious. Or I would follow all of these individual paths. Um, well, 3 could go here. Why is it not indicated that it could go there? I don't know. AutoCAD is so much nicer. So much more noise, though. But the 7 is obvious. technically correct. That's cheating. I'll admit it. Won't actually care. Eights aren't indicated. It's stuff like where if you want to use manual candidate, auto candidate becomes cheating is weird. That is an 8. And then I just lose myself. I don't gain any information. Processing, I just lose all of my other functions. That is not a 7. And in fact, other numbers must be indicated. That's also not a 7. So it should be 9-3, and it's not labeled because I'm lazy or something. Wait, are those not? Those are only not. Right. Because if you track where a 7-8 can go, those are the only places they can go in that box, which was instantly confirmed. Like, come on, really? Do you have to be that obvious? At the same time, we're past the time for a regular solve. 8 is already indicated, so that shouldn't be marked. Or already marked in, so it shouldn't be whatever you say, blah, blah, blah. This is an 8. Other 8s aren't marked, so that's good. Or, oh look, there's an 8 placed and not removed. Because of course it's not, meaning this is an 8. That 7 is potentially correct, if not definitely correct, because of reasons I've already stated. God, I hate having to triple check everything before I can do anything. For example, I don't know, this 5. 9-3. Oh, at that point, am I even using the correct notation properly, or am I just copying all the things? What's happening over there? Why not over here? I don't know. Good question. I'm bored. Oh, 6 needs to be not indicated. God damn it. Other such things that I just don't like. This is why I don't do this. You know what? I don't even like doing these. Like you say 3, but 3 is also removed, so I can't say that is correct. There's an 8 marked in. Obviously, that's wrong. That's my fault. But it's like, it's so. Threes. Oh yeah, the threes need to be indicated. That's possible. Because that is true. It should be possible. And then what else? There's another 3. Okay. Can't see any reason why I wouldn't have mentioned that. And then, is everything correct so far? Threes do not go in that position. That's 1-6 only. So in fact, I should remove the candidate of 1-3 from the auto so I don't have that mistaken marker. Sevens up where it shouldn't be. Okay, just cleaning house at this point. There is no 8 here. That's a 4. There's no 4 here. There's no 4 here. That's a 6. Almost certainly. Under indicators of 8 and 6 in the column need to be removed. Their respective columns. As a 4, it needs to be removed. I'm so fucking lazy about this. Meanwhile, this is a 4 by Sudoku. See, I don't have as much, what do you call it? Like, it feels like it should be a different mode versus this button makes it easy to switch between modes or whatever. This is a 6. Maybe? No, I don't know that. And how do I find the remaining numbers or whatever else? And also, is the candidate correct? Seems all correct. Did I use a binary to solve this? Oh god, I hope not. 1 is false. 1 alternate. This is a 1. Other ones have to be removed. Add in the column, and this is a lone 1. That's a 3. 9. 3. Not 3. Not. That's a 9. Not 9. That's a 3. 2. 3. Threes need to be removed. Threes need to be removed. Removed. That's a 3. 3. 9 2 equals not 9 2 equals 5 equals 6. 2. 2 2 4 2 2 2 4. Not a 2 equals 1 5 equals 4 5 equals 4 9. False 5 indicator. If this is a 2, I hope it is. And this is also obviously a 9. That's a 2. This is not a 2. This is not a 2. That's not a 2. That's a 6. 1, 6, 7, 9, 2, 7, 5, 9. For the sake of the fact that I did cheat and whatever else, and the fact that I'm not used to doing candidate, I'm really gonna give myself a little bit of, leeway about this, but I hate using manual candidate in this puzzle for some reason. It just manually writing it down in this puzzle feels different. It feels like it shouldn't happen or whatever. And of course, it took a little bit longer to do, an extra 12 minutes, but that doesn't matter. And ironically, you're like, wait, you just solved this with auto candidate. How do you solve it with even cheating with the mixture of auto and manual candidate? And it takes you another 12 minutes. That doesn't make any sense. First of all, goldfish brain. Second of all, shut up. Anyway, um, also, if you already solved it, why would you need to solve it again with manual candidate, especially if you're going to not use full manual candidate? That's a valid criticism that I do accept. And whatever. I will, however, because I feel like the hard has been easier, then I should be able to do the hard with the similar speed as the original hard with manual candidate. So whatever, we have a 2 here, and other things aren't aware. So I don't the problem is I'll probably just give up on this because I don't actually give a shit. If I just do this and it all becomes obvious that this entire block gets solved if you just look at that. But if I don't look at that, what do I actually get? And the answer is not very much. In fact, how with only 2 sixes do you end up somehow with, well, there's only a 6 here? It's because everything else is indicated as it can't go there. So only the 6 is possible to go there, and that happens with auto candidate or with manual candidate and a lot of work. So I don't see the difference between auto and manual candidate. I don't see the value in it, and I don't care to begin to try solving it that way. Where, I mean, I guess manual candidate is again like you actually have it in a newspaper, you have to manually put in all the numbers with a penciling, like proper penciling. But when the fact that auto candidate is here and it becomes very obvious and it auto checks off for you, it's like it's the thing that I've been trying to resist this whole time that I've steadily become like, okay, no, this automatic thing is now the thing I prefer because it's here, because I don't want to have to do it manually or whatever. When I have a different puzzle game, this puzzle game, for example, Sudoku themes, um, it really doesn't lend it. This game is amazing. It has a 16 by 16. It has a 6 by 6. It's a totally different puzzle. And also you have this weird button over here where if you press a button, it shows you all the ones that you can just tap them in. So like the 2 has to go here. And then you think of, well, there has to be 2 in this column and 2 here. 3 has to be there now that I've done the other thing, and there, and it should be a lot faster for me to solve this because it's literally impossible to not see it. I'm done. Thanks for hanging out with me. I like it when you do. I'll see you next video. Toodles.